Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day number 1 of Apex Season 4. I am Atlas, this is Papa Smithy, and although it has been a very short time since the grand final between Kongdu Panthera and Lunatic High, a lot has changed, Papa Smithy.
Yeah, 13 days, so not a lot in terms of calendar days, but since then we saw Team Korea go over, sweep in the World Cup qualifiers. We're going to have the patch change today, so guys, we'll get the full information out there soon, but Doomfist available. Lunar Colony, for the first time in Apex, available. So there's going to be a lot of change, and even the teams, Kongdu Panthera and Lunatic High, both rejiggering their lineups. So we're going to have new players, we're going to have players coming in from teams that didn't qualify for Apex. A lot of change, and perhaps the one thing the global stream will be the most sad about. No global teams this time, so for the first time in Apex history, no Team Envious.
Yeah, unfortunately, but that does mean that 5 teams are now out of Apex from Season 3, and we've got 5 brand new teams as well. So a lot of new faces, and you mentioned some roster changes on the top 2 teams. That has coalesced throughout the entirety of Apex. So all of the teams have changed, and we can expect a heck of a lot of differences here for this particular season.
Yeah, Kongdu Panthera are going to be starting 2 new players. Only 4 out of the 6 will be playing. We'll get to those specifics in a moment, but only 4 of the 6 that we saw 13 days ago will be playing in this match. Uncia, pretty much a facelift akin to Kongdu Panthera's facelift for Season 3. And then across the league, Mano, probably the biggest change, going over to Luxury Watch Blue, stacking that lineup with Flower and Sebjelbi. So much going on in this particular league, but when it comes to the details, a lot of the details, they stay the same.
Yeah, it certainly does remain the same. That prize pool still going to be the same as Season 3. Lunatic High certainly with their beady eyes on a 3rd win in a row, but I have a feeling that the competition is going to be stiff, Papa Smithy. And look, talking about things that stay the same, it is going to be the same format. So 4 groups of 4 teams for the round of 16. Top 2 will qualify to the quarterfinals.
Small change for you guys, of course, is that for the first 2 weeks, we'll have 3 broadcasts a week.
Yeah,
so
true.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the next 2 weeks, and then going back to the Tuesday, Friday that you remember. But like you say, Atlas, round of 16, single round robin into double elimination groups. Semifinals and finals will still be best of 7.
Yeah, those best of 7s, and hopefully we'll get more 7-game best of 7s once we get there. But these are the patch notes, and as Papa alluded to earlier on, Lunar Colony will be available, as well as Doomfist. So for the first time, we'll see the guy smashing his way into the games. And you can see some older patch reminders here with McCree. Being alluded to.
The new McCree change, though, of course, the slow after being flashbanged is enabled. Reinhardt, he swings 10% faster. Zarya got the biggest change. Now, basically, nobody can move out of the ultimate. Those movement effects that used to make it a bit trivial now actually will force people into the Graviton Surge. And Reaper also
just
had an adjustment. Quieter. He's a bit quieter. He's been learning. He's like, okay, he reviewed his tape. He was like, man, people are hearing me too often.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be stealthy. I'm going to be a bit quieter.
If I'm going to just stealthily teleport in like smokiness, generally that doesn't make a lot of noise, Papa Smith.
I mean, that's the thing, though. He has the voice modulator, right? So he
exactly.
He turned the volume down 50%. It was like, repositioning.
Repositioning, guys. Just don't.
Why did he have to announce it before?
Why do you put it in all chat? It's not even enabled. Ridiculous. But as you can see, the thing that stood out to me, Papa Smithy, here as we have a look at the groups is that Afrika Blue once again having themselves an theoretically easier time this time around. We'll see whether they're going to be able to get themselves towards a bit of a sweep, even without Mano on the roster.
Yeah. Game Club Busan and Luxury Watch Red from Group C will be playing in our second series today. Some of those new faces, top 2 teams from Challengers Season 4 that was played before during the same time as Apex Season 3. That's not confusing at all. But some new names, Meta Bellum, the B team of Meta Athena, like a sister team, I should say. Speaking of sister teams, when we get to today's matches, we do have that Kongdu versus Kongdu match. Exactly. Always awkward when the group draw leaves the 2 sister teams in the same group, but that's what we get today.
Exactly. NC Fox is another name that we got to talk about as well. Not necessarily performing fantastically in challenges. We'll see how they go in Season 4. But Metabellum's an exciting team. You mentioned them just previously. In effect, played for this team, the superstar for Envious.
And this is, of course, a juncture also. We can talk about who was lost. Is Mighty AOD no longer around? Rhino's Gaming Wings no longer around? BK Stars no longer around?
And Rogue and Envious waving goodbye to our Western teams as well, like you spoke about. But these are going to be today's matchups. Papa had already spoken to you about it earlier on, but it is going to be the team kill between Kongdu Panthera and Kongdu Uncia. And then GC Busan and Luxury Watch Red are going to be debuting round 2 here today.
I mean, Luxury Watch Red, this squad that people have known about since before Apex was even announced as a tournament, playing games on international servers, playing NA tournaments for a long time ago. About a year ago, we're talking about now, never qualified for Apex until Season 4. No longer do they have Nanohana, now Flower. No longer do they have Pine. But there's still a name that I think a lot of fans who have really been around Overwatch esports for a long time will remember. And we finally get to see them on the Apex stage today.
Yes, well, we'll see whether they are going to be able to perform well against GC Busan, because they've been on a bit of a tear. 4-match winning streak so far as we have a look at our packed stadium, Papa Smithy.
And you know what? They're all one-faced Kongdu fans. Atlas, only Kongdu fans here today, as it is the Kongdu versus Kongdu match to open things. So many cheerfuls for the Kongdu squad, of course, are going to be popular. These were, of course, the Panthera fans 13 days ago, 1 map away from winning overalls. You see signs for Free, who will be playing today as well.
Yep, some debuts here into Apex for both of these teams as far as new players playing for the Kongdu squad, because there are some familiar names that have switched themselves over.
Really cool article was on ESPN Esports today, released by Rally Jaffa, about the Team Kongdu fan meet they had a couple of days ago, and a lot of really engaged fans who clearly want to see some Doomfist.
Yes, they most certainly do. I also am very excited to see what Doomfist is going to bring to the meta as well, Papa Smithy, because we were having a conversation about this, and where does he fit? Is he going to be the tank sort of style player, or is he going to be in the hands of a DPS player, much like a Genji master would? Because we've seen, or had alluded to us, that some of the tanks have been flexing over to playing the Doomfist, and some of the DPS players have as well. So we'll see where he does fit, whether he's going to be Dive, whether he's going to be Peel. What is this Doomfist
I mean, we
going
look
to be?
at recent heroes, right? Orisa, I guess we don't see anywhere, only really gimmicky on point A defense on Eichenwald.
Or jumping off the edge of the map at the very beginning.
Well,
that happens a lot.
That is definitely her main role in Apex. But Sombra is the interesting one, right? Where you have Rascal, the DPS, flex onto the Sombra player. But also Luna, for example, was a very famous Ana or Zenyatta flex onto the Sombra. I feel like Doomfist is going to be a bit akin to Sombra, where Rascal, I feel like he's going to be playing Doomfist in our first series of Apex. He's been on a tear with that hero in competitive play. But then also there will be the tank players. Like, there are definitely tank players saying they'll play it as well. So I don't know necessarily if Sombra has a fixed role. We had a grand final where Eska and Rascal, DPS players, were playing Sombra. Many other teams will have support players playing Sombra. I feel like Doomfist is kind of in similar territory where no one really knows if he's going to be a primary DPS or if he's going to be flexed over to another person.
Yeah, and what kind of compositions he's going to be played in as well. I mean, what kind of triple DPS comp? What kind of...
Everyone fought Dive at the start, right?
Yeah, well, that's sort of what
everyone
makes
was like,
sense,
well, the Dive meta's been codified, but then people saw he's great at peeling, he can do many different things, so we're not settled on Doomfist meta yet, but we'll definitely know by the end of Apex.
Exactly right, and we may actually have a bit of an idea by the end of today as well, because there are other changes that also could influence where he's going to fit. With the fact that Zarya, the buff to her ultimate, with the fact that you can't dash out of it, might mean a resurgence of all of our prominent Zarya players that have always been here, but they've been forced to playing Diva, things like that instead.
Yeah, resurgence of Zarya, but maybe a debut of the Team Korea Scrim comp and even the Team Korea live comp during the World Cup qualifiers. You know, the Zarya, Reinhardt, Junkrat, McCree assembly of, you know, shorter ranged heroes largely, and just trading upon the power of Zarya to melt Diva. So Diva-less comps, you know, Zunba, certainly excited to hear that, and we may see teams mess with that. We thought maybe for the grand final, didn't see it there, but you have to think someone's going to try it in Apex.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we may have actually seen some of the roster switch-ups that we will get to in the future, some changes here for Kongdu Panthera especially. Maybe that's aimed at trying to make use of the new and improved Zarya ultimate. Perhaps, you know, it's a little bit of a cheeky thing to say before we even get into the
And
rosters.
Zarya and Doomfist have a lot of synergy, given that Doomfist is very squishy when he goes in and doesn't have ultimate available to go untargetable. Certainly can be burst downs, the extra shields there. Could be relevant. We're over-talking because we're just about ready to get into introducing our players, to introducing Season 4. That we have all these questions, and that's the best part about day ones. We can only look forward, we can only learn, but soon we'll have the answers.
Yes, we certainly will. Both of these Kongdu teams already in the booth, ready to get themselves into the first game, so let's have a look at it.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by Hot 6. Round Robin. Today's matchup, Kongdu Panthera, Kongdu Uncia.
And you may have seen a slight change there, ladies and gentlemen. That was indeed Daly, previously from MVP Space, now wearing the Kongdu Panthera jersey. And he's going to be stepping in favor of Void.
And stepping into a really intriguing setting, which of course is a team kill. We have Kongdu versus Kongdu, Panthera versus Uncia. These guys will know each other inside, or even if, like you mentioned, some of the exact players are new to the organization. They would have scrimmed before. We saw Kongdu Uncia in a bit of a state of flux when they were scrimming against Team Korea with players like Bedosen, who will be playing for Panthera today. So even though Panthera, 13 days ago, were in the grand final, they have made a change, and at least for our first map, Void will be sitting on the bench. This guy, who certainly could have been Team Korea's Diva player.
Yeah.
They decided to go more flexible. They took in Zunba because he had the Zarya. Void actually doesn't even find a spot on his own team for this particular first set as Daly's playing, and I feel like maybe that is because of that Zarya.
Yes. Could be an option. I mean, we were speculating as to what would be the change, but I'm excited to see exactly what's going to happen when we get into the game, because with a new patch comes a whole lot of new questions. Starting on the side of Kongdu Panthera, Bedosen going to be in there as well. Otherwise, a lot of familiar faces, and that DPS line will still be just as formidable as it was previously. That final, you can go back and pretty much watch a Birdring highlight reel, Papa Smithy.
And they took Lunatic Kai to 7 maps in even more competitive fashion than Runaway was able to in Season 2. And like you say, you cannot mess with the DPS duo that is Rascal and Birdring. Rascal, their captain on the day against his sister team. Bedosen, like you say, comes in the place of Luffy, who of course was largely playing Reaper in that grand final 13 days ago. Dosen was the captain of WNV Korea, a Korean team that endeavored to play in China, had some issues actually getting a lot of matches recently, and that's why their players went separate ways. He was their captain, comes over from WNV Korea and does, as we say, replace Luffy, and starting will not be Void, who will be starting on the bench.
Yeah, Curious as well, he's the one that came over also from WNV. It seems like that team has been split and dispersed amongst a lot of Apex teams for season number 4.
And we have to also mention the most important thing. The sailor suits are gone, Atlas. They are sticking with their Kongdu uniforms. This is what they were wearing during the grand finals. No longer sailors, they've graduated. Now they're men, apparently.
Yeah.
But they did make it to the grand final. They did take Lunatic Kai to 7 maps, so maybe they deserve a bit of aging in their attire.
And I'm excited about your definition of being a man as wearing a polo shirt, Papa Smithy, because that was not, I always thought something like, you know, a suit and tie, or maybe even overalls if you're going to be a hard yakka type work. Oh, that was a colloquialism.
Yeah.
Good times, but we are going to move over to Kongdu Uncia, also upgrading to some polo shirts themselves.
Yeah, you saw Changshik on your screen, used to be on Meta Athena. These guys have also really changed their lineup. Dance, DNC, however you want to call him. We'll call him Dance for the day.
We're going to call him Dance. We're going to be dancing today.
Dance, Damien, and DK, who are all on the roster in Season 3, but Quartermain, famous for his rapping in the Season 2 finals video, comes over from Africa Red to play Lucio for them. Free and Changshik, like we mentioned, also new players, so 50% new players. Really don't know what to make of Uncia. You come in and say, definitely Panthera the favorites. We went from 2 seasons of Uncia being the super team from Kongdu. They stacked Panthera in Season 3. Now we look at the names and certainly we're more acquainted with what Panthera can do. But we really have no information about how Uncia look as a 6-man roster.
Yeah, exactly right. Even actually picking up Luffy from Kongdu Panthera as well, Pub Smithy, although he will be on the bench.
Luffy and
Void.
This off. I'm just like, what's going on? We're on different teams, we're not playing.
Guys, maybe they're just standing out the back of the booth yelling insults at each other just from behind to see whether they can throw each other off.
These sort of games in Korean esports have always been interesting through League of Legends, StarCraft, team kill games are always so intriguing because it's never played at quite the same pace as other types of games. They're so interesting. This is the first game of the season for both teams. Only one of them can come up with the victory, and as a single round robin, the result of this is so important to see if which of these teams will advance, because already with a loss, you'll look at the team that loses and say, maybe they're going to have an uphill struggle to get out of groups.
And they're going to start that struggle in Nepal, Papa Smithy, although one of these teams will be victorious. The other thing that could happen here is that we could have a Kongdu monopoly over this group. Just promote both of them through, Papa Smithy, despite the fact that it could be a more difficult one. Does have to start here, though, as our first control map will be on Nepal.
And let's retire the over talk. We're ready for Overwatch. We're ready for the new patch. We're ready for Doomfist. Maybe even Lunar Colony coming out in set 3. Everything that's old is now new. There's a lot of change. The revolving doors of esports never close. New players come, old players leave. So excited to see what Apex Season 4 will bring us.
Yeah, and we'll see which Kongdu is going to win as we hop into game number 1.
I get it.
Interesting. I was waiting for a second cheer, but I feel like everyone just went for the Kongdu fighting, and then we're done.
It was Panthera fighting. Interestingly, no Uncia fighting. So maybe they have to earn the right to be cheered by the Kongdu faithful.
Maybe.
It's the first day. We still got kinks to work out, okay?
Yeah, apparently. Okay. As you can see, so far not too many changes, but no need to talk about this
We
sort
haven't
of
even
thing
got a
to start
Doomfist
things off.
hover yet.
I know, this is so strange. There are edges to be jumped off, Papa Smithy. There's plenty of options.
Not so
here.
much in Control, though.
Yeah, Control does seem to be pretty 2-2-2 dominated throughout almost all metas. As you see, it is going to be exactly that. Genji opted in for on the side of Uncia, however, not for Panthera.
Watermain on his famous Lucio, of course. Rascal going to be opening up on Soldier, who's largely playing the Sombra. Now, no Sombra action yet. Okay, first kill does go the way. First 2 for Uncia.
Yeah, make that 3 as Decay is just popping off. Jumps in right round the back, gets the dash through and cuts away Kongdu Panthera, who are forced back, and that is a dominating start for Uncia.
And it was Panthera in the grand final against Lunatic High that found so much value out of Rascal's Genji, getting lots of kills when we saw Lunatic High opening with Sombra on Control on Lijiang Tower. Here we see similar value for Decay, and he's already halfway to the first Dragon Blade of the season.
Yeah, gets cut down to about half health, but now you can see Uncia continuing this aggression. Chunksic jumping all the way through, but may have gone a little bit overly aggressive, but trades of kills across the board.
Watching Daly coming in. He's going to be opening on the Diva, even though Void's in the squad.
Yeah, and he's just going to get destroyed on said Diva as well, Papa Smithy, and now Kongdu Uncia taking down Kongdu Panthera for the second time, ticking up to about a third of the way through. Kongdu Panthera not really finding a way in edgewise.
Again, remember, this is not the same team that took to the stage against Lunatic High 13 days. There is only 4 out of 6. We are still learning if there will be adjustments in the Panthera style. Rascal's almost got his tack visor, but for now, Uncia control the point.
Yeah, tack visor is now going to be available, but he's going to be cut down, and Decay brings out the Dragon Blade and tears everyone up. Even gets a cheeky mech now as Daly is taken down in the end, and Decay is dominating to start things off.
Yeah, Decay really burning up the charts here in our first map of Season 4. Stayed on Uncia from last season. Rascal taken out. Another kill goes the way as Dan's just able to snipe him on the Zenyatta with the left clicks.
Yeah, Rascal actually looking very confused at how he died there at the same time.
Panthera have a big ult back. They have 5 out of 6 available in just a moment. So you imagine Uncia's going to poke, try to get a pick, and not allow the 6 ult push.
Yeah, not opting in for that switch over as there's the pulse bomb. Birdring does find Quartermain in the backline, so nice stick. We'll see whether he can actually win this one as there's the Tracer battle being won, and Birdring proving himself once again. to be that dominant Tracer force.
Yeah, Birdring never has to prove himself totally. This guy is a star. Needed to get the pick there. Quartermain dies with Sound Barrier available. And crucially, Atlas, when it comes to actually holding this point, Kongnu Panthera only use 2 ultimates on their DPS and keep everything else.
Yeah, both of those picks actually, Birdring putting them together himself, being able to win that Tracer War after taking down the Lucio. So very, very nicely done. Not a lot of investment as Damon jumps his way into the backline once again, as Fish is able to take down Decay, so a lot of that aggression is taken out of this fight. And Damon actually booped off the edge, actually jumps off.
Yeah, just trying to reset there, not going to find any value. Decay only halfway towards the Dragon Blade, so even though it felt like pretty one-sided fights to open, the fact that Panthera was not pressured into using much when they finally flipped means the percentage is almost irrelevant, because they can take up a great position. They have the Soldier, so they're happy to play long sight lines compared to the Genji who wants to hard commit. So when it comes to holding, getting the flip was hard for Panthera, but holding, that's what their comp's set up for.
Yeah, they're able to bunker down now. Most certainly, Birdring picks up another Pulse Bomb, and there goes the Transcendence. Kongo Uncia actually utilizing so many ultimates here, but already Dance has fallen down. Damon trying to cause some ruckus in the backline, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to, and he is going to be taken down in the end.
Yeah, Uncia actually Dance died with ult up. He was trying not to overlap with the Sound Barrier, but didn't get to use it in the end. That's actually a pretty significant factor, even though they got some kills, as Kongnu Panthera haven't had to give up the point.
Yep, Daly threw out the self-destruct, but didn't really find too many options there, just trying to create some space. Move everyone off that point and continue this control, ticking up to about 85%.
You're gonna need something really big from the Dragon Blade. Panthera have Sound Barrier and soon to be Tac Visor available to stall, so this should be a 99% flip, if anything, for the side of Uncia.
Yeah, but Uncia only need that one flip potentially. If they get it over, they've only got 5% to tick up. Birdring already with another pick onto Quartermain though. Did use
no one's gonna shut
once
down
again.
Rascal.
No, just standing here free hitting. Tac Visor giving him all of that accuracy, and that is 3 picks already. Waka Waka helping out. Decay trying to get what he wants done, but he's not going to be able to. And Bedosen actually able to pick out his opposite number in Dance as well as that Dragon Blade in Genji.
And that's going to be it. Kongnu Panthera going to win our first map. Great start by Uncia.
It was.
But you saw the big mistake. What happened was that Dance did not want to overlap the Sound Barrier with his Transcendence, but died just as the Sound Barrier went out. Wanted to maximize the time. They had basically team-wide immunity with Sound Barrier and the Transcendence keeping people alive for the max duration. But when he died, they could never get the flip, and Panthera was set up to hold on to the point. The moment they captured it with 4 ults available, that was where you could not make a mistake, and Dance not using his ultimate there was the mistake that allowed Panthera to hold the point.
Yeah, and those clutch picks that Birdring was able to put together as well to allow that ult economy to be so incredibly powerful. First Doomfist hover, here goes Rascal.
And Rascal is the guy we expect to play. Has been quite public about the fact that he wants to play it. And yep, opens on the Doomfist. We got it finally, Atlas.
Yep, finally. So, see how he's going to make this one work as Kongnu Panthera look to make this a 2-0.
Hand Cannon does pretty decent damage at medium range, not quite that like a left click from Roadhog, and okay, Seismic Slam in.
Yeah, already trying to mix up this fight. You can see his peel works very, very well at disrupting. He's now standing on the point, but we're being made known that he is very squishy, Papa Smithy.
Yeah, 250 HP is not really what you expect out of a medium-range brawler. Roadhog, for example, 600 may be a tank, but Doomfist is largely played in those close quarters, so really nothing out of the Doomfist there. Was just poked out. They didn't go Zarya with the Doomfist like you might have expected. Sure, D.Va can pocket someone, but when it's such close range, I'm really not 100% sure about really the viability of pocketing the Doomfist. And yeah, Rascal goes down pretty happily, maybe halfway towards the Meteor Strike, but nothing else to speak of.
Yeah, and on the other side, you've got Decay actually 90% on that Dragon Blade once again. So Kongo Uncia, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that composition was working out for them at the beginning.
Birdring's hunting though. His pick in the first map was the start of things. Okay, Decay's already popping the blade.
Yeah, Rascal's already been taken out here as well as Decay just jumps himself around. You've already got lots of picks for Uncia, and that is going to cause the scatter on the side of Panthera.
And that's one way to stop Birdring from picking your support. Just dive in yourselves.
Yep.
Get in there, and sure, he might have killed Quartermain, but that was the only pick from the side of Panthera. So the Dragon Blade will buy them another 30% or so, as Kongnu Panthera have to lick their wounds and watch their formation. They'll have basically everything up on the support side, but Rascal is being slow to get his first media strike.
Yeah, actually does punch away the pesky monkey, waiting for that flanking maneuver. Barriers have been thrown out now as Decay's actually taken down. Good punch. Comes in from
Meteor
Rascals.
strike?
Yeah, there's the meteor strike, looking for the right target. Not necessarily hitting too many, but Uncia almost lost the Lucio from that one.
The fact that he couldn't kill Quartermain meant the sound barrier came out, so no further people fall apart from Dance. Need to get the flip soon.
Yeah, they're trying to get over there. You got 75%, so 3/4 of the way through. Uncia still staying alive on this point for the moment, but it's just Quartermain trying to bounce his way around. The uppercut did come in. Looks like we should be able to get this flip relatively soon, but it's good space being bought by Uncia.
Yeah, it's good delay here. You always want to delay to 99% and guarantee basically one flip will decide the map. So for now, just trickling in, trying to get to that 99, probably not going to quite get there.
Yeah, and it's going to be the 96% this time around. Uncia made it to 95 last time. We'll see whether that one extra percentage point is going to be what makes the difference to bring us to a third map here on Control.
Certainly can't argue with the economy to actually pick up these points, though. Sure, Meteor Strike was used during that very extended capture of the control point, but once again, Panthera have a lot available.
Yeah, feels like Hungry Panthera just have the patience in order to wait out these situations, but Decay's going to be able to take down Rascal once again. This Doomfist has not been working out whatsoever, and Fisher is trying to pick up the pieces now with a double kill on the Primal Rage. Both supports being taken down.
Yeah, being very flashy with the Doomfist, but like you say, the actual amount of effectiveness perhaps still leaves a bit to be desired. They're still going to hold on, though. The disruption of Doomfist certainly can't be disputed. He does so many different CC abilities that he can really occupy supports and potentially assassinate them with the great timing on the Meteor Strike. They continue to hold the point. Now we are watching Damon trying to do his best bird ring impression and get a pick to open up this particular attack.
Yeah, just wants to make sure that there are members of Congo Uncia available to distract the rest of them, though, as Dance is able to take down Rascal once again. Feels like a 6v5 some of the time here, Papa Smithy, but that seems to be fine for Congo Uncia as we're still ticking things up for Kongdu Panthera. The flip wants to be coming in, as now we've got the investment of the Transcendence, but Osen is going to throw it out and immediately get picked by Decay. Just cuts him down. Birdring trying to do what he can, but it seems to be not enough, because Decay doesn't even need the Dragon Blade. Once again, you've got the ult coming out. Yeah, Meteor Strike coming in, but not hitting the targets that he wants. Waka Waka is also going to fall down, as we've still got it ticking up for Kongdu Panthera, but may not be for too much longer.
Yeah, exactly. Atlas are going to pick it up here, and they're already at 97% to start. So sure, Birdring's going to be able to start the delay. Daily in position as well. Let's see if Panthera can actually get things together, because they don't have a lot of ults. The Primal Rage, it's going to delay, but what's it delaying to?
Yeah, self-destruct does come in. Free. Hops back in his mech too. Should be absolutely fine. It's now Decay trying to do what he can, but my God, Osen just takes him out in the 1v1 off to the side. Could be a good opportunity now for Kongdu Panthera to make their way back in, but there are a lot of Kongdu Uncia members on this point bunkering down. And that is going to be that, and that's going to be a third map here in Nepal.
And not the best debut for the Doomfist. Rascal, we knew from the start that his Sombra will be something special. But I think how they're using the Doomfist is something that we'll really query, and I don't know if that will be necessarily the best way to use Doomfist in the future. No Zarya to pair with it. Seem to be using it as a Genji, given that the Meteor Strike was only ever going towards Quartermain's Lucio. Focusing on dive when diving supports wasn't the meta by the end of Season 3. It was more about taking down the tank line and not allowing DPS to do damage. Doomfist does change the game, but it didn't change Map 2 as a positive for Kongdu Panthera.
Yeah, and it might be an argument for the more tank peel style play that you could get if you were to flex it from the tank role, as far as that Doomfist is concerned, but that is most certainly speculation on my part.
Watching the open here, this time Rascal back on the Genji, so a Genji battle for the first time other than the last seconds of Map 2.
Yep, Kongdu Uncia wanting a third time first cap here to start things off well. Able to capitalize in map number 2.
Opening picks in the first 20 seconds, but still battling on the bridge.
Yeah, Fisher actually taken down early is definitely a big deal, as Daly's going to lose the mech as well. So the front line obliterated on the side of Kongdu Panthera, and once again, Uncia should be able to get themselves a good start if they decide to hop down from this high ground.
Yeah, the formation of Uncia to open up maps seems to be significantly better than Panthera. Like you say, the tank line especially kind of all over the place when it comes to opening fights. Daly still being blooded onto Panthera as a starter. We're still fighting, though. No capture on the point till now.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb is actually going to be thrown out there as Daly was punished for it. Rascal hopping on his Genji now. Wanting to make a statement. Birdring hopping around the side, but not able to get anywhere near this point to disrupt. And Kongdo Uncia staying as a 4-man unit, 5-man unit up here on the high ground once again as they just watch that percentage bar tick up.
I mean, the moment that your tanks go down, the big loser will be the supports who largely pick up ult charge by healing tanks with their last large health balls. So Dan's close to the ult. Quartermain already has it. Waiting for the sound barrier, which will come in soon. There it is.
Yeah, Dragonblade actually going to come in, but blocked out of the fight mostly. And Free's going to be the one that picks off Rascal. So Decay unable to get too much done as he leaps himself up. Oh! Able to dash himself back there as well. I thought that was his death, but Kongdo Uncia going to capitalize. And that is going to be almost a team wipe onto Kongdo Panthera as the rest of the stragglers making their way back in.
We're going to get to see the replay. Mobility is a hell of a drug, Atlas. He falls off the end, able to dash back on. The critical thing that was in that particular fight is that the same time that he popped his Dragon Blade, so did Rascal, and he died getting no picks. Even just taking down the enemy Genji was a win with that particular Dragon Blade, and still 3 ults available for Uncia.
Yeah, Uncia actually with the better ult economy for what feels like the first time here on Nepal. No stick on the Pulse Bomb for Damon, but already, actually able to take down the mech with a bit of help. Daly going to be dealt with in the end there as well. So nicely done, get rid of the Diva. And now Kongdo Uncia just trying to get these Panthera players off their point that they have owned for quite some time. As only 14% was gathered by Panthera.
Yeah, I mean, when you pick up a cap like that, you're very unlikely to get significant percentage. At least to the credit of Panthera, you do the math and it would be around 90%, if not for the flip, maybe even 99 given the time to actually pick up the flip. But we're going to need to see something special from Panthera, something special from Birdring, and that's already a Dragon Blade for Decay.
Yeah, he's going to get discorded, though, and taken down relatively quickly. Rascal's able to take down Chunksick as well in the fray as Damon wins the Tracer battle. You wouldn't have thought that had happened as Dragon Blade so close here for Rascal. Transcendence is going to wear off there as well, as he could potentially find some picks, but he's relatively unhindered. Okay, not even going to need the Dragon Blade in order to start something up. Overtime has gone off. Panthera back with some control.
Yeah, it's not going to be an ability for Uncia to have enough members to contest the point. Rascal also able to use that Genji mobility around the backside of the point. Uncia picking up a couple of picks, though. And remember, Rascal's not there. He just returns now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Panthera weren't able to get the reflip onto this point, as that's a couple of kills for Rascal, doing what he can. Birdring just slipping around this point, waiting for the rest of his team to make their way back in, and that's going to be that. Kongdo Uncia with the first blood drawn on Control.
You never know what's going to happen in these battles between sister teams. You wanted to favor Panthera for all their heroics 13 days ago. But you could see that as a setup of 6 men, they didn't seem to really have their synergy you would expect. The big takeaway I had from that map on Village was that Daly slammed the ult aggressively, Void style, trying to get a pick with the Diva, but was slow to remech and died in the remeching process when he didn't even need to ult in the first place. It was an offensive ult when he could have just been holding onto the mech and containing space. And in the end, everyone, a couple of too many cooks, it feels like, spoiled the broth for Kongdo Panthera. Now, it's only a single map, it's only Control, but Control was Panthera's path to victory against Lunatic High. Remember, they won Control, and then 2 tiebreakers on Control to win all their maps against Lunatic High. So them losing on Control is not insignificant.
Yeah, it did feel like they're ace in the hole in that particular final, but you have to remember that this is only 2/3 of that team. And the thing that I want to draw attention to is the amount of Diva being played by Daly when Void is still on this roster. Void, such a fantastic Diva player, didn't have the best grand final of his career. You have to say, wasn't able to deliver a Void-level performance, but we know what this guy's capable of.
If you're going to be sending out the nuclear bombs that are Void's Diva aggressive ultimates and just playing Diva, then why isn't Void playing? There could, of course, be other factors. We don't have full information, but Void evolved into a star by the end of Season 3, so it is a surprise to see Daly largely playing the Diva.
Yeah, was impressed by a lot of Bedosen's play, though, especially on that first point. Some of his Zenyatta orbs were very ingeniously played.
But we're not going to judge a team based on Control. Control is the most different archetype to the other ones that we will see.
That sounds like a
Lunatic
High level of
I'm
assessment.
just saying that control can be crazy sometimes.
It certainly can.
I'm ready to see some hybrid with this lineup. I'm ready to see some escort, even some 2-point capture. But control was convincingly to the side of Uncia, and Uncia's formation and understanding of how to play as a 6-man roster was significantly better on control than Panthera.
Yeah, and I'm actually very excited about, like you mentioned, the hybrid maps here at the same time, because Zarya, if we're going to see this Zarya play, King's Row is certainly a fantastic option for that.
Now, remember guys, we're back in best of 5, so we will return to control opening up the night, then hybrid, then assault, escort, and hybrid. So 2 hybrid maps, a lot more common than during Grand Finals when it was map 2 and map 7. And there's the substitute, Atlas, so it didn't take long for Kongdu Panthera ostensibly to realize the error of their ways. They give daily stage experience, but we move on to hybrid, and already it's time for Void.
Yeah, Void is going to come in. So those questions that we had, Kongdu Panthera was certainly asking as well.
Strange one. Strange one to put him in for control, have him play D.Va, and then decide they might have a better D.Va player in the roster already. Daily was not in any way a bad D.Va on MVP space, but Void was one of our best, specifically at aggressive D.Va play, and that's largely what we saw from Daily, so that's kind of where the surprise was.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a short break while the players are going to switch over, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with our hybrid map of choice.
세상은 무서운 곳이야. 심지어 여기 눈바니에서도 우릴 보호할 존재는 필요하지. 5R15 방어 로봇을 소개할게. 옴닉 사태 때의 구형 이디나 모델을 완전 새롭게 개조한 거야. 얘들이 우릴 지켜줬어. 잠시 동안은. 둠피스트가 공격했을 때 난 공항에 있었어. 로봇들은 속수무책이었지. 모두가 널 포기했지만 난 너에게서 가능성을 봤어. 그래서 내가 나섰어. 프로그램을 업그레이드하고 마음을 주었지.
새로운 인격 모델 설치 완료. 시스템 재부팅 중. OR15 온라인.
아니 그런 거 말고 위대한 영웅에겐 진짜 이름이 필요해. 오리사는 어때? 난 널 강하고 용감하게 만들었어. 넌 아직 배울 게 많아. 가끔 사고치고 와서 날 화나게 할지도 모르지. 그래도 난 네가 우리에게 꼭 필요한 영웅이 될 거라 믿어.
내 이름은 오리사. 당신을 안전하게 지키겠습니다. 그것이 제가 작동하는 목적입니다.
또 이 두 명의 딜러들이 확실히 좀 기대할 만한 그런 선수들이거든요. 그래서 오늘 경기에서도 감 선수가 요즘 행보워치를 많이 하고 있어요.
그죠, 본인 말대로 딜러들이 다 해서 탱커를 할 필요도 없는 그런 감사하다가 나와야 됩니다.
네, 그러면
감수님을 더 이상 못 웃게 해드리려고. 왜 그래? 사랑이 사랑이 좀 된다는데요? 이겨야지. 웃는 사람. 저도 웃을 수 있지. 아, 질 때 웃는다가 인류지.
한번만 던져.
동그라 원싱필. 원싱필. 가자. 니는 숫자 없어. 어쩌면 원숭이. 원숭이 돌려. 이봐봐. 원숭이. 우리 감정
하나 크레인.
왜 있어? 왜 개피? 원숭이 개피 진짜. 나이스. 수비 때 준하가 타이밍 잡아줄 수 있어. 수비 타이밍?
준아, 그 양수가 좀 말해줘.
어디 올라와 있는 거죠?
여기 올라와서
지금 균형 잡고 있는 거이거 여기 안 올라가져서 아마
그렇죠. 떨어질 때마다
그렇죠.
왔다 갔다 위아래로 바꿔주고 있어. 위아래로.
네, 미끄러지기 때문에 지금 저 앙증맞은 말로 위아래로 그렇죠.
잡고 난간을 잡았어요.
이야 입도 벌리고 있거든요. 지금 점프백 상태예요 아직.
이게 실제로 안정감을 주는 건 아니죠.
아니 이거 주고 있어요. 테슬라 캐논을 들고 있지만 왼팔 하나로 버티는 이유 완료.
아니 저 위에 올라가기 정말 힘들 것 같아요.
너무 놀라워 지금 말문이 막히네요. 이것이 프로게이머죠.
제아타
야타라는데?
제아타 볼수 있어? 볼수 있어. 가자. 제아타 봐.
야타 루시바 빼야 돼 이제 빼.
루나는 또 이제 궁이 거의 다 왔죠. 루나 선수. 앞에 입겠어. 그냥 좀 맞아주면요.
또 왔어요.
위에서 위아래 이제 아래.
이거 쳐다보려면
난간 잡기. 왼손 하나로.
이거 하늘 쳐다보면 시야가 앞에서 쏘는 걸 못 봐요.
점프백이 안 끝난 상태이기 때문에 이대로 떨어지면 데미지가 들어간다는 거예요.
맞아요.
나 되거든. 지금 확인해줘. 메시 작방 위에.
메르시 짝방 위에
갈 수 있어.
가자.
지금부터 막았다.
트럭.
메시 반. 메시 반.
많이.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 4. Boyd has made his way into the booth as Daly is going to depart. So the MVP Space Diva player, not going to really show us too much in the first round. Panthera were able to be victorious on Control, but maybe not to the level... Sorry, not able to be victorious on Control, and therefore it is going to be the switcheroo.
And now we get the maximum amount of runners-up from Season 3. Remember that Luffy is no longer on the roster of Panthera. He has moved over to Uncia now.
Exactly, so if he gets subbed in, then theoretically we get all of them.
We can have all of them, but they're going to be on other sides. The Civil War will be there, Atlas.
Yeah,
but for
exactly.
now, Void comes back in, so not really sure what to make of Daly's debut. I guess maybe we'll learn more in future sets. They opened with him on Control. They looked a bit out of sorts. They didn't have the synergy that they did with Void previously. Now we're going to jump over to Hybrid with some sick new-looking graphics, and Hollywood will be our first sighting of Hybrid this season. Always a fun one. We've seen a lot of innovation on Hollywood over the course of the season.
And that's the exciting part about this map as well, especially when we are debuting a patch. Because if anything is going to be messed with and mixed up, it will be on the likes of Hollywood, especially for that first point capture.
I mean, the first point with the Zarya Reinhardt and, say, a Junkrat or a McCree is very possible on this map. We know it's a King's Row special, but as you say, the sightlines can make it possible to be done here. So we see some clapping. Kongdu's feeling excited. Uncia, especially, feeling hyped. If they could beat Panthera on the opening day, deal a mortal blow to their sister teams, hopes of even getting out of groups, they'd be pretty damn happy.
And also, Panthera is certainly the formidable opponent in their group, so getting a point up above them is so incredibly important as we hop onto Hollywood for map number 2.
get it.
This time it's Kongdu fighting. No dueling chance. Everyone's just excited to see their favorite Kongdu players do battle.
And that's the beautiful thing about this particular audience. There is no way that they could be sad ever. Because Kongdu's going to win, Papa Smithy. Spoiler alert, it's going to happen.
Somehow I said
today.
the betting markets wouldn't have allowed that to be a lodged bet for today.
That Kongdu's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think you'd get great odds on it. I'm pretty sure that'd go pretty 1-1.
All right, so Bedosen going to be opening up on the Ana. Definitely one of his expected picks, given that he is now coming in for Luffy, who was their more flexible support player compared to Waka Waka, almost always on Lucio duty. Rascal's going to be on the Sombra. That was a big pick for him, of course, in the grand final, and increasingly, as we saw a lot of exclusive Sombra players like Rascal and Eska to some degree. No sighting of the Reinhardts yet on the maps.
Not quite. Defensive setup is an interesting one for Kongdu Panthera, but...
And are we going full commitment?
Is this happening?
We are.
Because we didn't want to talk about it, right? Because that gets dangerous, as Decay is the one seismically slamming his way forward.
He has the Zarya, though, this time, Atlas, so they are committing a bit more to potentially diving in with the Doomfist. Speaking of diving in, Damon poking around the back, as always.
Yeah, already trying to split things up. Decay, though, is going to get hacked, and he should get taken down. Fisher and Birdring already picking up a couple of kills as Panthera. This is their best opening yet as we debut Hollywood for Apex Season 4.
And we continue to debut Doomfist and perhaps be a little bit less than impressed with how they open.
Decay's like, misclick. Sorry, this is Genji. I messed up, guys.
I mean, no, he did. It was a mistake.
Yeah, I know.
He misclicked.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh, oopsies. Why are my buttons doing weird things right now? This is so strange. I keep uppercutting when I'm trying to dash. Unfortunate, but...
Bedosen's actually taken out by, of all things, just a grenade thrown out by Dance.
Yeah, grenades are dangerous, Papa Smithy.
As we're learning.
Yeah, exactly. So, Damon continuing to get some picks, and Decay finding that the Genji's certainly a much more successful option. The whole front line being eliminated by the Ninja himself. Rascal offers one back, but otherwise Uncia able to get themselves onto this point and should be able to cap this one out already halfway through. And it's just Birdring to try and do what he can to get this one back.
Rascal was so close to EMP, but didn't have it available. First pick onto Ana, the healer's gone early. We're going to see a last-second contest. Void sitting on the point.
Yeah, gets himself onto the point. We've got a barrier coming down here
that
as well
EMP?
as Fisher joins. Yeah, big EMP coming in. Bedosen with the grenade doing some more work, but Uncia still able to offer more back. Void, no defense matrix to be offered as the Dragon Blade comes in. Decay can't quite find the targets, but finally Waka Waka is going to get sliced in half. And now Uncia trying to fight their way through.
Fisher's got a couple of kills. Rascal still alive, looking to delay, but the delay's not going to be successful. Fisher will get out. Big story there is that when we saw the Sombra ult come down, it was a rushed one. It was used just to contain the point. Void was already dead, and if you remember, Eska was using his ults, his EMPs exclusively on D.Va and whoever else he could get in the AoE. He would always focus on getting a D.Va advantage. They had a disadvantage in D.Va, and without a commitment to Zarya, without anything else going on, it meant they couldn't really contest the point.
Yeah, and actually in pretty good time here as well for Kongo Uncia, so feeling good on Hollywood as they enter the streets phase. See whether the Wild Wild West has some surprises for Kongo Uncia.
I just think you're Will Smith now. Thanks, Atlas.
You are welcome. I'm happy to get jiggy with it, you know?
They're able to, being able to push the cards. So, for now at least, Kongdu Panther not feeling frisky enough to get actually commitment onto a fight. A lot of free push here for Uncia.
Yeah, Damon pretty deep within enemy lines as the self-destruct is getting thrown into the ether. Yeah, that's going to be the stick, and Damon does manage to pick up Fisher. Nicely done in the back line. Decay still bouncing around, just looking for a target to cut down with that Dragon Blade, but just not enough members of Kongdu Panthera. And this car, it's the Autobahn through the west, Papa Smithy, as this next point should get capped pretty quick. 3 minutes on the clock. Kongdu Uncia not looking like they're slowing down.
And the reason why we saw that, well, we may have to hold on to the reason because Birdring's going to contest at the last. Rascal's already dead, though.
Yeah, Dragon Blade is going to come in as Decay's just looking to cut as many people down as he can. Not sure what he can do, but that's the sound barrier to keep everyone alive, and Uncia want to make it to this next point, and they should be able to do so, although the investment of ultimates is certainly relatively high.
I mean, you have to take the point here. It's so hard to actually attack at the last if you're not able to get it on first capture. Rascal ults.
Yeah, cute little boot back He's losing a lot of his health bar. Pulse Bomb is going to go wide as finally Panthera finding some picks. Quartermain falling down, and there's no Divamac for that defense matrix. Kongu Uncia, yeah, you're right. This is not where you want to lose control.
It's so hard
payload.
to get back onto the payload to push it from here. The rollback is real. The delay, when you're able to stop a push at half a meter it was, is significantly difficult because we don't have Reinhardts largely to escort people back onto a payload like the New Age comms from Team Korea will do. Now the sightlines are going to be true for Panthera. Uncia got so much push because Rascal changed onto Soldier, but because they delayed and were spending so much time stopping the first capture from Uncia, they were out of position. They couldn't use the high ground, and that's all the free meterage that Uncia got, but no more free meterage. Now it's really difficult for Uncia, to actually continue to close this out.
Yeah, well, Bedosin is going to throw out the Transcendence. Dragon Blade thrown down very, very late, but Decay able to take down Waka Waka. Oh, Rascal, you're in trouble. Trying to use his range as the deflection is not going to be bought into, and eventually Decay's able to win that 1v1, but was relatively in favor of the Genji, and from that point on, Uncia take control of the payload and should be able to get over the line, but that is a minute and a half that Panthera were able to buy.
But I think it's even more crucial that they got it, Atlas, because the moment that you commit the Dragon Blade in that area, as nice stick goes on, they kill Bedosin and Rascal from spawn again. But if they had not picked up the push there, I don't think they would have ever been able to get on the cart. They needed the ultimates to actually contest what is a huge disadvantage in terms of positioning. Now they're on the cart. Now they get an actual chance to close out the Hollywood push.
Yeah. And Decay and Damon have been playing out of their minds so far in this best of 5. Up against the likes of Rascal and Birdring, you certainly have to have a pretty ridiculous performance, as Rascal down to 8 health and actually going to survive for the moment, gets himself an orb to heal himself back up, and even able to try and get this pick. Good deflection, but that is going to be the pick off. Void able to finish Decay's life bar.
Yeah, pretty sick evacuation from Rascal. And speaking of evacuation, Uncia have to make a full tactical retreat, need to actually get their members together. And that's why Birdring and the rest of Panthera trying to push up and stop them from actually getting 6 men to have that final push.
Yeah, bit of cast a curse there as well, talking up this front line, and it's going to be Rascal and Birdring with the notable plays. Here, Kongu Panthera, a little bit of an option, but that payload once again going to start moving.
So you're looking for a pick. So Panthera looking for a pick. Birdring got some big picks earlier on Control.
Yeah, Transcendence is going to be invested here by Uncia, and they've got a lot of other ultimates to use. Sound Barrier does come in on the side of Panthera. They're trying to fight back, but there's the answering one from Uncia. Self-destruct comes in, doesn't find the targets, dispersing the members though, and Decay, it's now his turn to pick apart the members of Panthera.
He's going to use the ult largely next to the spawn door to stop respawns, I'd imagine. Not using it yet. Here it comes.
Yeah, they're not quite able to get onto this point that quickly, but we've got a meter to go, and there's the Dragon Blade. Here are the options. Self-destruct, flying forward to try and buying the space for Uncia. Yep, that's going to be that. Panthera are going to give away the final point, and Uncia continuing the onslaught here against what was the superior sister team.
I mean, Uncia turning back the calendar. They were the better squad for 2 seasons. Panthera had the big rise. They made it to the final. They have the hyped DPS duo, but Damon and Decay are doing great work on the side of Uncia, and Uncia seem like they're on more of the same page, even though that we saw the public scrims where they were running some of these players like Bedosin against the likes of Team Korea. So I imagine both these squads are in flux. They've settled on rosters. They've submitted them. These will be their rosters going forward in Apex Season 4. And so far, I'm more impressed with Uncia because they at least are using good ult economy. They seem to have trust in each other. And when they make their calls, they're ordered decisions rather than a bit more of the chaos we're seeing from Panthera.
Yeah, and Uncia honestly didn't feel like anywhere near the same team that they were previously last season. Season 3 was not the Uncia season. However, it's the mainstay players that have been impressing so far this series. It's been Decay, it's been Damon, and they were there last season. They're just better.
And mainstay is kind of a tricky word because they were there only in Season 3.
Well, that's what I mean, yes. The mainstays of Season 3.
And Dance is the only one who's been there longer, but they were there through a rough time. Remember that this team finished 4th in Group B, 0-3 in match score, 3 map wins in terms of little just games there. So they weren't able to pick up a major match at all. They only could pick up 3 maps. So they had a lot to improve on, changing 50% of the team, and then actually having the experienced players come through, shine through, and no one else really looked like they're out of position. Chungshik jumping over for Meta Athena has been very solid in his tank play so far. Uncia are solid, and Panthera on their first big outing in a while. Look a bit all at sea.
Yeah, now we've got Damon moving over to the Sombra here as well. Decay
on the Doomfist again, and once again, they're not going to be going for the Zarya, not that it got much value for Uncia. First seismic slam. Let's see what they can make of the first attack with Doomfist this time.
Yeah. Still going to be that same composition last time, so some question marks as there's the engage from Rascal. Yeah, good pickoff onto Dance. So not a lot of support now available. They want to find that Zenyatta as Damon taken down, and there we go. Nicely played here by Panthera so far.
He's getting so much value out of the right clicks there, is Rascal. You understand why they want to open Doomfist, because if you go Doomfist and get your ultimate, no longer can you use the house next to the point to defend, because you can just meteor slam into, you can meteor strike into the building, house just from the verticality, you know, go invulnerable and then stop that from being a static defense point. In this case, just got the picks with his charge twice, and that took out the supports, and that was enough to get the first pick, and they're looking for more.
Yeah, in fact, Kongdu Panthera looking on a tear at the moment. Already 2 picks coming in as Rascal seems to have figured out how this Doomfist works, especially on Hollywood as he charges up that rocket punch and beats Quartermain to death. Nicely done, and I mean, the Streets phase was a quick one for Uncia last time around as well, but Panthera is really making a statement here. 5 minutes on the clock, about a minute ahead as far as the position of the card.
And just when you're not in the open as Doomfist, just like we found with Reaper when he was being escorted a lot in the grand final, when you get into those close quarters, the rocket punch, insane ability to get picks. This time the Rascal's first to die.
Yeah, we've got some picks. Yeah, so Rascal's going to fall down, but it's Dance that falls on the other side, and Panthera able to pick up both of the supports now. Some extra punches coming in from Fisher as he hits that Primal Rage and will get rid of the members of Uncia in his way and continue this cart of destruction. Man, it is, like, the speed limit is super high at this stage of Hollywood.
But Chungshik's doing his best Ninja Winston impression. Once again on the cart, pop the ultimate, allow for the same sort of contest that Panthera was able to do. Yep, there is the Primal Rage. Needs to get back on the cart, though, only a meter.
Yeah, needs to get this one moving if they can. Rascal's able to pick up Dance. There's the self-destruct, and Panthera continuing to create space. It's going to be the answering self-destruct, but not getting the picks that Uncia wanted from it. Rascal jumps his way back on this pesky extra meter that they need to take. Should be completed, and there it is. Second point Hollywood seems to be an easy one for these Kongdu teams.
Yeah, close quarters fighting for Rascal Speed. Gets under 70 HP, but here's that ultimate.
Yeah, Meteor Strike coming down, trying to look for the pickoffs, and that's probably the best one that Rascal's got thus far, but he's going to be taken down afterwards. Not quite the damage that he wants, and that ultimate does do a lot of damage, just unable to get the full hit on the enemy side of Kongdu.
But the importance of Meteor Strike is, you know, we outlined, hey, Doomfist is pretty damn squishy. We know that for a fact, only 250 HP, but he gets inherent tankiness by being able to go untargetable at 17 HP and then occupy space for so long. Rascal's on the Genji this time, but dies first.
Yeah, Helix Rocket's actually to the back of the head. That's going to be a weakness for the Genji player, so even though he's reflecting, not an opportunity to get rid of that. And the cart is going to continue moving backwards at a slow pace.
A lot of time bank.
Wanting to get control, yeah.
A lot of time bank to work with. There's still 4.5 minutes or 3.5. They want to match Uncia's time. That would be the minimum acceptable for the side of Panthera. We're watching Decay. Gets the pick here, Chungshik onto Bedosin.
Yeah, nice dive onto that support line as Uncia throw down the sound barrier. Damon looking to do what he can. Just finished his tack visor, so not able to offer too much more damage back, and it's just Birdering that was picked up on the side of Panthera. They're still going to wait for him, though, to continue this push.
An ultimate there to zone them away from the carts, stop there from being free pushing. Now they're trying to take advantage of sight lines, gives a meter or two to the cart, but Uncia doing some farming up of their ultimates largely.
Yeah, Decay's able to take down Rascal. This could be very important. He did switch back to his Genji, but not able to get anything done. And Uncia now making this a 5 versus 4, but Panthera getting themselves back in there. Good Primal Rage from Fisher to get the picks that they want.
Yeah, Fisher just happy to ult. Even though Bedosin went down with Transcendence down, I thought, okay, this is going to be an eco push. Fisher's got triple kills on the Primal Raid twice in a row. They're getting a lot of push on, and suddenly we're already going to be almost record time here for Kongdu Panthera.
Yeah, we thought that Uncia had a very good time as well moving forward in our first round, but now they're going to have to try and stall for 3 minutes. They do get themselves back onto this point. Rascal does have the Dragon Blade, though, wanting to put the end to this particular round and bring us to that tiebreaker matches.
Got it.
That's going to be that, and that time bank is impressive from Panthera.
And you see why teams are going to try out Doomfist, because when Doomfist works, he does so much burst damage. He got into the house, got 2 picks, and then had the Meteor Strike available. If you can get those early picks, it's devastating. It's almost like Genji and Reinhardt came together and became one, because he was able to do so much on first push. And sure, the first time he died, he changed, but the job had already been done. Point A and point B, the Streets phase complete in almost record time. And now we see that when Doomfist goes bad, it looks pretty damn silly, but when it works, oh, is it explosive.
Yeah, it feels like moving forward, if you can continue that momentum in the aggressive stance, it's just all Doomfist all the time as he's rock punching his way around. The mobility is very impressive.
But we've seen 3 offensive Doomfists. Now it's the debut of defense Doomfist, as Rascal, for now at least, looks to be opening onto the Doomfist.
Do you call it Doomfence?
No, I don't.
Can I? Or are you going to be upset?
I'm going to cringe.
Oh, damn it. I don't like it when you cringe, Bob Smithy. I'll probably leave this one out. Well, we'll see whether it is going to work. Because, yeah, you did mention that, you know, it does work very, very well if you're jumping forward and the rest of your team is behind you. But see whether it's going to be the same when your enemy comes to you.
So he's going to change things up. This time on their attack, it will be the Genji. Decay doesn't want to return to the Doomfist attack for the 3rd time in a row on Hollywood.
Actually already taking a bit of damage there as well, but we'll get healed up, so that's absolutely fine. Just cheeky moves by Birdring, trying to stack some of this ultimate charge already. But pretty free run towards this point as they're looking to try and just dominate inside this stairwell. It's a bit of a blender in there, Pub Smithy, as already Decay's been taken down.
They didn't have the information that Doomfist was on the defense, and I think when you're diving in, he can certainly do some great counter dive. Speaking of Doomfist, here's Rascal.
Yeah, and it feels like Rascal is showing us that you can peel on this character, even if you are the DPS that generally gets peeled for.
We certainly saw some explosive stuff on the dive, but the peel side is certainly impressive as well. And working towards the ult, not a lot of time bank left. One more serious attack for Uncia.
Yeah, 8 seconds to go. This will be in overtime if they can make it onto this point. Damon is there, but of course he is. He's the Tracer, trying to buy some time. Waka Waka already takes down Chungshik though, and this could be a big problem. It's Panthera that's able to get the picks. The pulse bombs are landing on the side of Damon though, as Kongdu Uncia fighting back for the moment. There is no opportunity to sound barrier. Waka Waka goes down with that available, but Panthera still holding on. But Osen doing some work there with his Ana. Self-destruct, just going to buy some space as Uncia desperately trying to hold on.
Barrier there was pretty insane. Stop the massive value from the ult. We're still getting this last-second fight. Rascal's back as well.
Yeah, Waka Waka actually made it back to the point to get the sound barrier in there. Only 3 members getting benefit as Decay looking to try and clean this one up and get themselves at least the cap. Not sure whether he's going to be able to, as Rascal in a bit of trouble down to very low health. But it seems like Panthera should be able to hold, and Kongdu Uncia are stopped. And point A.
That time the Meteor Strike did kill the enemy support. Quatermain went down, and now there's a very clear objective for the side of Kongdu Panthera. Very large time bank as well, so they come in heavy favorites. We wanted to hold our tongue. We did not want to decide Kongdu Panthera's future just based on control. They bring in Void, and while Uncia had a decent push on their attack, it's been overshadowed by what Panthera could do. Now we're starting to see more and more of the Doomfist. You also start to see the cogs click into pace and really understand the potential of this hero.
And now 3 minutes on the clock as Uncia need to hold off Panthera to keep themselves alive. See whether they can actually make this one happen, but that is a lot of time to work with and a lot of options for Kongdu Panthera.
One tick as well, Atlas. This
is so hard.
We're not going to throw in too much hype here because you could just go full eco push, get 6 ultimates, and you're going to get at least one checkpoint of point A.
Or in about 3 minutes and 20 seconds, we can probably get pretty hype if it hasn't been taken yet. That's probably an exciting time. However, I think you're right, Papa Smithy. This shouldn't be too difficult for Kongdu Panthera.
We've been spoiled today. We've seen plenty of Doomfist. We'll see if we see our first lunar colony of Apex history in our next map as well. Rascal's going to open onto Doomfist. If he gets the ultimate, just in terms of eco pushes, there's not really safe ground for Uncia to defend on because you can just meteor strike straight into the house. You can drop straight through the roof and get the full value of that ultimate. So we'll see how Panthera want to play this. They're not in any rush.
Yeah. Right now, actually, just looking for the weak spot. And you're right, not in any rush at all. And Birdring hopping around the side. Dance has to deal with a really frustrating Tracer getting aggressive. Rascal, he's going to get discorded and destroyed, though, but already both supports have been picked off by Kongdu Panthera. You've got the ticks. Remember, we only need one, and it's going to be a Kongdu Panthera victory, and it's already ticking up. Look at this. It's a whitewash, and Panthera should be able to even this out unless Decay's able to get some crazy heroics onto this point. Oh my goodness, this is so incredibly close. But there it is. Panthera even out this series 1-1 with a victory on Hybrid.
Yeah, Fisher was a star on the Winston on that particular map, on attack, on defense. KDA Winston's not something we usually talk about, often has to take one for the team, but he was the one in the backline picking up multiple kills again and again. Even though Rascal went down early, he was able to force the positioning. Even Doomfist being a factor means you can no longer clump. The strategy for defense on Hollywood has evolved many times over the past. Soldier on the high ground in the house at the start, then just Reinhardt standing on the point eventually throughout the course of Season 1, but if you're predictably clumped up together, Doomfist will answer that cleanly the moment his ultimate is up. So they rolled the dice a couple of times, Uncia, didn't work out, and we're all square after 2 maps.
And it just makes positioning so incredibly hard because he can throw you up into the sky, punt you forward, it feels like there's no safe place to be, and also positioning that you set up for yourself isn't always static when you're dealing with Rascal, able to get himself in there so easily and smack you all around. So I like what they were doing there on Hollywood, and we'll see whether it's going to be one of those things where something like Hybrid is the option. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a short break. When we get back, it will be Assault for our 3rd map of the night.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫식스와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫식스 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back to day number 1 of Apex Season 4 with the victory on Hollywood. Kongdu Panthera even out the scoreline as Kongdu Uncia on control. Looked pretty good on Nepal, but unfortunately were unable to push quite as fast when it came to the hybrid.
And while the box office for Kongdu Civil War may not match Captain America's Civil War, we are still seeing something that for now is pretty even between the two Kongdu teams. Bringing Void back seemed to actually be the key to finally seeing Panthera return to their form of Season 3. And now Uncia, even though they've shown improvements, even though they full pushed Hollywood against the side of Panthera, that wasn't good enough. And we have to remember a constant narrative. Kongdu Panthera in Season 3 were insanely good on offense. Their defense decent, their offense A+. Once again, we saw A+ offense, and Uncia had no answer.
Yeah, and decent defense as well the second time around. We saw the Doomfist actually work out, but let's find out which assault map we're going to be heading to. Could be Lunar Colony, as we did mention that we have enabled that one here for Apex for the first time, and it is going to be the new entry onto Lunar Colony for Apex debut.
Our cup runneth over. We're getting everything. We've got Doomfist on attack, Doomfist on defense. We're getting our sighting of Lunar Colony. Really interesting map. So much of it played in the World Cup qualifiers. We get to see it for our first time in Apex.
Yeah, and some of these points have been considered relatively easy to capture as well. So for Kongdu Panthera, a team that does like to attack, I feel like Time Banks could be run a thing over as well, Papa Smithy.
You're very good at your Shakespearean English, Atlas.
Run a thing? I think that's a good one.
I'm so excited to see if these teams are also ready to go on Lunar Colony. They've had a bit more time than the teams at the World Cup. Will we see any battles in the zero and the outside areas?
Yeah, the zero grav outside areas.
That's what I want to see.
It was relatively avoided if we were to remember back, but I like to think that our Korean players have a different plan. The whole thing is going to be outside, but I don't know whether it will be. Let's find out as we head over to Lunar Colony.
I get it.
There we are. I find so I'm still thrown by the fact that we only get one shear.
Well, there's no dueling chance because it's Kongdu, Kongdu, Kongdu. Everything
yes.
is Kongdu today. Kongdu will win at some point. We don't know how many maps it will take. We're on to Lunar Colony, and Rascal's decided that, at least for the start, he is going to be completely Doomfist only.
Yeah, and Doomfist versus Doomfist as well, as Decay's opted in for that one, theoretically as well, if they want to stick to it. Of course, can certainly change things up.
Rocket Punch, such a powerful ability, was on attack on Hollywood Point A. Got the big picks that allowed them to get such a great time on offense there. We're starting on defense as Uncia. Well, they go back to the Zarya and Doomfist duo that, you know, we kind of expected when we were hypothesizing Doomfist comps. Left a bit to be desired. Felt like the Genji swap was a pretty smart one from Decay in the previous map, but for now at least, mousing over the same duo.
Yeah. I like the idea of using Zarya against the Doomfist as well. Feels like just as important as against the Genji now that you cannot dash out of a Graviton Surge.
We're seeing double, 2 DPS instead of triple DPS with the Doomfist. A lot of people were predicting triple DPS, with one of them being Doomfist, who kind of straddles the line because of always CC compared to other DPS heroes.
Well,
a couple of opening picks.
Gonna get the punch onto Freeze, so not able to get any of that charge towards the Graviton Surge. And going to Panthera, the defense looking like it's starting off well as Rascal's able to get himself all the way around. Nice flanking maneuver. Safely gets himself out. With
strong sightlines there, Atlas, for the healers. So even though he's going in as a squishy hero between the barriers from that he picks up on hitting abilities and also the healing, was able to stay up so long, still close to full health and looking for another rocket punch.
Yeah, it's going to fall over for a moment though, so getting taken down. It's going to be Helix Rockets that finish him off in the end. Going to be Decay, so already both supports taken down. The defense once again looking good for Kongdu Panthera. Pulse Bomb not quite finding any kills, but Birdring switching over to this Soldier, making things look good. Tracerless composition from Kongdu Panthera. I never thought I'd see the day.
Seems to be the way things can go forward. We didn't see that much Tracer from Team Korea running their new strategies during those Overwatch World Cup qualifiers. Damon tried to backdoor at least one checkpoint, but wasn't able to as the fallback came from Fisher. And Rascal did not use the Meteor Strike at any time during that defense. He's got it available now, so he's going to go aggressive. Doesn't even need heals because he can always get out with the ultimate. Speaking of ultimates.
Yeah, he's going to get out with it and get back in as well as Dance is going to fall down. So much damage. You mentioned about the house on Hollywood. I feel like it works out just as well here. As Rascal charging once again. He's looking so good.
Well, Rascal has beta tested the Doomfist for 1 or 2 maps of control, worked it out, and now is looking super good. This is just like his Sombra that captured the imagination of Monty and Doa in earlier seasons of Apex. He's showing us a new hero. We get Rascal, one of the most flexible DPS players to debut Doomfist for Apex, and so far, so good.
Yeah, in the World Cup games where we saw Lunar Colony being debuted, it was this first point that was relatively easily taken by the attacking side, but has since changed over to a defensible point.
And that's
some
kind of
teams
the thing.
have figured out.
A lot of teams were, at the start, everyone had the same group understanding of, well, this is just indefensible for a point A and point B. As with all 2-point captures, a lot more defensible, but we're seeing more and more full holds on Lunar Colony, and specifically with the Doomfist adding another variable to consider. Already, it's looking difficult. Consider how many ults are available here for Panthera.
Yeah, Birdring actually going to jump into this blender and takes down the Monkey as well as Decay falling over. He decided that he didn't want to Doomfist off, goes back to the Genji, and this time it is not working as Panthera just getting a clean sweep. The rest of Kongdu Uncia needing to run the heck away from dodge. And there's less than a minute to go. Kongdu Uncia need to make something happen with only 1 ultimate and almost 0 sound barrier percentage.
And that's the problem, is that you need the Primal Rage into a support ultimate to buy time for Decay to actually pick up the Dragon Blade. He's not going to have the healing available to actually farm it during an extended fight. Rascal himself pushing up.
Yeah, and able to take down Quartermain as well. This is so important. Birdring uses Helix Rockets to take down the pesky Tracer and then throws in the Tac Visor to the mix. Feels like Kongdu Panthera are going to go for this full hold. It's looking almost impossible for Uncia as so many kills are coming down for the Panthera side. It makes sense because this is the grand finalist from Season 3, but that control point on Nepal looked so good for Uncia. just seems to be slipping away. 5 seconds to go. Kongdu Panthera dominant on the first point.
And honestly, it is a lot about Rascal. He has been outstanding on the last 2 maps, outstanding on the defense here. The team understands to heal him. He has torn all the attention of the healers, and now we're at overtime, and Uncia look unlikely to get anything as here comes that meteor strike. It's going to go for Quartermain.
Yeah, he's looking for it, but doesn't actually get the damage done to finish him off. Eventually does, though, as the Rocket Punch is going to beat him back to the Death Chamber. Extra kills coming in as Primal Rage is invested by Fisher to get everyone off this point. It is still ticking down. They're holding on to this overtime on the side of Uncia, but they're just losing too many bodies, and everyone on Panthera is still here. That's going to be it. The full hold on Point A on Lunar Colony on its debut here in Apex.
A full hold, not even a single tick can be picked up from Uncia. The Doomfist on defense is looking even more potent than the Doomfist on offense. Waka Waka was able to do some great things there, but what I was really drawn to was that Birdring just couldn't be focused. He had sightlines the entire time because everyone had to run away from the Doomfist in the front line. The healers could focus on Doomfist as well. That just meant that Birdring, we never even mentioned his name, was having a gay old time just shooting away for free with no one shutting him down. And it looked just too easy for Panthera.
I almost thought that Birdring wasn't there because he was playing Soldier, and that does not look anything like Tracer Papa Smithy, but he was there getting all of the free damage. I feel like Kongdu Uncia were a little bit in my boat as well, to be honest, because he was untouched. Standing on that high ground, tearing them all up, and now Birdring's considering switching things completely up. So much of an extended hero pool.
And now Birdring can also do it stealthier, Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is it's a fun buff, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many games where you can decrease the volume of a sound line and it's a buff? But that's Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys are all really chatty. We know this.
Yeah.
Anyone who's played Overwatch, the first thing you notice that everyone on your team is having a chat to you, and it's not even voice comms, just the players, the heroes just chatting.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Brilliant. Well, Birdring will see what he can actually do, or whether he's going to even stick on this Reaper, because could be a different option.
Atlas, we may have no Tracer on either team.
Oh my god. Tracerless?
Tracerless game.
Remember, I started commentating Overwatch in Season 3 Apex, Pop Smithy. I don't think I've ever cast a game without a Tracer in it.
Well, find something to hold on to, because
there's
now,
a desk right here.
everything's changing. It's a Doomfist meta, as here's Rascal again.
This is the kind of Doomfist that I'm looking for as well. The one paired with the extra quiet Reaper. Birdring has actually committed to it as they're making their way out. So a low-range composition with Bedosin to try and make up for that as best he can. Decay, he's going to start on this Doomfist as well, using the same composition that Panthera used against them.
It's a very risky comp to run, because actually getting to a point without taking significant chip damage on the 250 HP attacking heroes, short range like you say, is difficult. If they can get into position though, it's devastating.
Yeah, the very scary thing is if Bedosin can pick up that nano as well to try and pair with either of these heroes, but both of the DPS able to get themselves some picks on the side of Panthera. And 6 versus 4 could be important.
He's already got the ult.
Yeah, builds himself up towards it as Bedosin. He's taking a lot of damage, but doesn't fall down. And Rascal tearing everyone up. An extra one there from Birdring as well off to the side as he finishes off the Diva. And even Waka Waka gets some revenge. That was quick.
It was something different as well, Atlas, going for the 2 short-range heroes. The Apex Season 3 Grand Final was largely decided around Reaper play for the first 4 or 5 maps, and that was similar. You need to guide in the Reaper, just like you have to guide in the Doomfist to some of the maps, but this time they went all out on just Lucio speed boosting in, and because no one was picked off in the entrance, Doomfist tries to brawl, and there was a lot of value from DK at the start, but the shotguns came through, the hand cannon came through as well, and there was just more firepower in the short ranges that the fights were happening on the control point, because you can't kite back, you can't abuse sight lines when you don't have a single tick on the control point.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a very Kongdu Panthera type option as well, Papa Smithy, because they are a very aggressive attacking style team, and that composition would have been do or die. They were able to get the leading picks to start things off and get that attack moving. If they were stifled there potentially, then it could have been a very different story, but didn't happen. We know the DPS is very, very skilled and they utilized it.
I liked when they ran it, because if you had an actual point B attack to be forced to do, then you could use sightlines. You don't have to all sit and clump on the point because you only have a single checkpoint. Your positioning is forced. When you have no checkpoints, to defend because you were full held, and thus the attack made a lot of sense because they knew that Uncia would be sitting on the point, and thus if you can get the shotguns and the hand cannons out there, you're going to find members.
Well, as you can see on your screen, Uncia, it's their turn for a substitution, and Ding's going to be making his way in. And Damon moving out, and this guy was having a fantastic first couple of maps. See whether they have a plan for this particular change-up.
It's going to mean that we have another break, guys. It's been very stop and start first series of the night. Substitute out of our first match into our normal ad break after the second match. Now also going to be another 6 minutes or so to bring in another member. Feels like both these teams are really learning about their rosters. They have extended rosters. Probably the biggest surprise is that Uncia is making a substitution, but Luffy is not the one coming in.
Yeah, and I would have liked that because it's nice to see all of our runners-up for Season 3 on the map at the same time. However, not going to be the case. And we'll see what the change-up is going to be when it comes to the particular DPS switch, because this duo was looking good. We'll see what is going to happen when we head to Escort for the first time after a short break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere.
세상은 무서운 곳이야. 심지어 여기 눈바니에서도 우릴 보호할 존재는 필요하지. 5R15 방어 로봇을 소개할게. 옴닉 사태 때의 구형 이디나 모델을 완전 새롭게 개조한 거야. 얘들이 우릴 지켜줬어. 잠시 동안은. 둠피스트가 공격했을 때 난 공항에 있었어. 로봇들은 속수무책이었지. 모두가 널 포기했지만 난 너에게서 가능성을 봤어. 그래서 내가 나섰어. 프로그램을 업그레이드하고 마음을 주었지.
새로운 인격 모델 설치 완료. 시스템 재무팀 중. OVERWATCH 온라인.
아니 그런 거 말고 위대한 영웅에겐 진짜 이름이 필요해. 오리사는 어때? 난 널 강하고 용감하게 만들었어. 넌 아직 배울 게 많아. 가끔 사고치고 와서 날 화나게 할지도 모르지. 그래도 난 네가 우리에게 꼭 필요한 영웅이 될 거라 믿어.
내 이름은 오리사. 당신을 안전하게 지키겠습니다. 그것이 제가 작동하는 목적입니다.
얘들아, 결승전을 우리가 이렇게 올 수 있는 게 진짜 어떻게 보면 진짜 마지막일 수도 있어. 진짜 나중에도 오고 싶은 곳 못 올 수가 있거든. 진짜 후회하고 싶지 않아, 후회하고 싶지. 진짜. 렛츠 고! 화이팅! 노동해 화이팅! 맞아. 나누기 준비하자.
나누고 말이야, 나누고 한 번이면 되거든요. 자, 나누고 오지긴 한데.
자유가 빠졌어.
여기 슈커 있어. 다리부터 봐! 다리야! 보고 있어! 가! 야, 나이 돼지 못해 돼! 있어, 나이다! 가! 이동! 지금! 나이스다! 얼굴 잡았다! 오른쪽 뒤에! 나이스! 화물은 진정이 없어! 화물은 진정이 없다고! 라이브를 뭐라 거야!
Welcome back, guys, to Apex Season 4. We do have a new member for the team for Kongdo Uncia, and it is going to be Ding. Sliding into that DPS role, Damon moving out despite having a decent performance in our first few maps. But as we move into number 4, Escort for the first time, we'll see whether he's got any surprises for us.
Does mean that WMV Korea is having its civil war of its own, Atlas, as he was also, just like Bedosen, on that squad that did not play in Korea but played a lot of Chinese tournaments at the start of 2017. So getting his first run, seems like both squads using it as a chance to blood new players. So interesting to see how that goes, and it's not like Damon or Decay were really faltering on the side of Kongdo Uncia, so interesting to see this adjustment being made.
Yeah, it could be a strategic move there as well, Papa Smithy. We don't actually know. We're not the Kongdo masterminds.
Not yet.
Uncia must have a plan.
Well, the plan will have to include
Watch point Gibraltar.
A map. It could be Gibraltar, which we did see at the grand final, but Dorado's the most common, and Dorado's where we're going.
Yeah, that does make some sense, Papa Smithy, but you know I'm a little bit biased towards Jibby. That's how it all works, but Dorado's certainly an exciting one. We'll see what is going to happen as we move over, and Ding, does he have something in store for us? Is he their resident Junkrat player? I mean, who knows? There certainly could be some change-ups to happen.
No Smites Junkrat on attack. Never forget. Was
exactly
the legendary one. Could be a defense choice as well. It's been messed around with on Dorado Point A in particular. Waiting to load in here. Uncia with a great start, winning control, but the moment Void came in, Panthera went up another level, and now they're looking for what would be a pretty swift 3-1 after that first map going to Uncia.
And it just felt like Assault didn't last any time at all. It feels like it could be a 3-0 because Lunar Colony almost did not exist, Papa Smithy. It was so fast for Kongdo Panthera, but let's do it. Let's hop on to Dorado for Escort and possibly the last map for Uncia tonight.
Get it.
Here we are, Dorado for our fourth map. First time that we've seen Escort here at Apex Season 4. Excited to see any switch-ups. First, Farah could be coming out here by Kongdo Panthera. They are going to be on the defense.
Usually a Rascal hero, not normally one for Birdring.
Is furiously switching things up today. I don't know what to think anymore, what to feel.
We're seeing Rascal not on Doomfist, so he also has had to vary things up. Doomfist on defense with just some of the sight lines and just how in the open things are on point A. It will be a surprise, so a lot more expected for Rascal to be on the Soldier, but predictably it was Birdring just having a bit of a fly, and he'll be sticking on the Tracer we know and love him for.
Having a laugh, as it were. But Kongdo Uncia were also hovering the Junkrat on Ding for a second there. And I was like, if I have got to become a prophet at this particular point, then we know that something's gone severely wrong, because I was not being serious about the pocket Junkrat switch in for Dorado, although it was Uncia's map choice. So of course they have planned something here. It is going to look like the Farah. He does make his way out, looking for some rockets to snipe things off.
Panthera style here also, because they're not running Mercy with it. It's going to be a solo Farah.
Yep. Rascal, of course, does love that one. Void's going to already take down Decay, though, so a really good start for Kongdo Panthera on defense.
Ding just has to back away. Big debut on this Uncia side. Going to be delayed just for a moment. Largely, Farah is chosen to contest the standard defense point we're seeing Panthera set up around.
Yeah, we saw Rascal actually pretty comfortable originally, but now Ding actually finding some really, really good positions to rain down some hell. So nice space being gained for Uncia to push this cart forward and try and get towards this market.
Void, of all people, actually shuts down Ding after the Discord Orb was put onto the Farah.
Yes. Even known for her range, of course.
The help out from the Discord in that scenario as we're following Birdring, still being able to stop Uncia from getting any free push, and Fisher had already ulted.
Yeah. Actually throws down the Primal Rage. Does punch away the Lucio, though, so feeling good after killing Quartermain, and now getting themselves set back up as they move this out. Market Square.
Uncia going to stick with Farah at least to the first missile barrage is available. Decay doesn't have Dragon Blade either. They have two definitely great teamfight ultimates in Changshik's Primal Rage and also the Transcendence. Don't want to pop one until they have a DPS ult to pair with it, and there is the Missile Barrage.
Yeah, Missile Barrage is flying forward, not necessarily finding the picks that he wants, but gets Spadosin already, and Void self-destruct comes in and he just doesn't cancel that Rocket Barrage, wants to get as much damage as possible, and he's going to be taken down. So Kart continuing to move forward though, as Kongdu Uncia looking to try and get it onto this point. It's about 1.5 meters, so very, very close as Decay getting some picks, trying to get the work done. Transcendence invested. Panthera do not want this Kart to move any further forward. Not sure whether it's going to quite be enough as Sound Barrier also invested. Decent timings here. Panthera have at least utilized them differently, but Fish is going to be taken down, and now Uncia on the attack moving forward. Decay with the Dragon Blade was able to get some work done. That is going to be that. Kongdu Panthera wiped away, and it's only DPS remaining.
Yeah, really poor use of the support ultimates coming through from Kongdu Panthera. The way that fight started was Uncia picking both supports, and then Spadosin and Waka Waka with their ultimates up were respawning, coming back to the point, and you can understand that to buy time, but crucially, Rascal and Birdwing had just died as they started their delays, so they had no DPS grouped as the Sound Barrier and Transcendence found no value, so still the push was successful for Uncia. Just not the sort of scenario where the two support ultimates actually had the DPS to allow the point to be contested.
Yeah, if you're not going to hold there though, I guess you do want to wait until it's just out the front of point B, just because that is the best spot to defend, and maybe they figured they'd have enough time to build up these ultimates one more time. Opportunity, but Ding going down extraordinarily low, has to be careful. The firing lines of this soldier could take him down, but thankfully gets himself that Orb of Harmony. Should be A-OK. Discord flying forward and that Rocket Barrage being held onto. Wants to find a target. Oh wow, really nice pick off. Birdring getting some damage through, and there's the pick onto Dance on the backside. This is what we expect. He had his outing on the soldier, but comes back to the Tracer and looks just as good as ever.
You could see Uncia though, not over-investing. The moment they had Decay go down, they were happy to give up, even though Dance could have just used the Transcendence. They wanted to just buy time, get the full reset. It's going to take a while as Free takes a trip to the beach.
He looked very free on his way off there. Just really wanted to be on one of those boats. Never seen them as up close as we just did there. But now, the defensive setup from Kongdu Panthera. Multiple high ground options as the Kart slowly going to be moving back. With position being held. They've got a lot of ultimates. Waka Waka almost to try and complement that with a 5th as the Sound Barrier almost up. Birdring will have the Pulse Bomb all the time. Long-range Diva shot's not going to be worrying Ding too much, but just trying to find that flanking position.
Waiting for his team to get in position. He announced his position to the enemy supports by firing off a rocket. Already Transcendence opens up.
Yeah, but Osin actually going to look for it. Getting some damage down. Dragon Blade is what is going to be answered as the Sound Barrier is going to be used to complement that one. Good self-destruct is going to take out the Genji. Rocket Barrage able to get one back onto the soldier. Certainly good if you're a Farah player, but Ding, can he create enough space? Barrier's still in there. You've got the leap being used to try and take down this Farah, but it's just not quite enough to get the work done, and Changshik is going to be able to get rid of Waka Waka, so not a lot of support options and not a lot of ultimates available anymore for Panthera.
I mean, Uncia used so many ults just to get this start. This is their 6th ultimate used in the single fight. They get the Spadosin, but they need to pick up the push here. They've invested everything.
Yeah, that feels like a mistake with Spadosin just a little bit too far forward. Clipped as that self-destruct was flying in. Fisher able to grab a couple of picks as the Winstons are popping off, but feels like Kongdu Panthera just desperately trying to hold on. There's a baby Diva there, and she's not exactly a huge body to help with that point as Ding, some seppuku being committed. Gets rid of himself to try and get back to that spawn as quickly as he can.
He might change hero here, given that you're not going to get any value out of the Farah on once you get inside the power plant. So smart to eventually trade off. That's kind of the problem with Farah, is point A and point B certainly good, but you almost have to instantly swap if you ever get to point C. It's a bit of investment in the future. One more attack. They don't have the Farah. They want to fight in closer quarters with the Tracer, and they still need to get this to point B.
Yeah, they do. There's only 24 seconds to go as well, and they haven't even capped that point B yet. I feel like it might have been almost a premature switch off that Farah, because there is still a lot of airspace in order to utilize. But in goes Panthera. They're actually looking to stop this high ground option from Uncia.
I mean,
They're doing a
Rascal's
decent job. Yeah, he's just
firing.
Honestly, fish in a barrel right now. Fish are able to grab the support kill that he was looking for as he just bounces around, getting them out of the way. Overtime has gone off, so Panthera will need to get through the Uncia lineup, but this position's so hard to reinforce, and everyone is dying. Good hold on point B for Kongdu Panthera, and a strong showing on Escort.
Yeah, definitely the defense there from the side of Kongdu Panthera was a level above some of the defenses we've seen them put up on Escort, and specifically on Dorado before. Love their formation on the final push, knowing that the fight had to come to them, that Rascal had complete information and sightlines over the cart that they knew inevitably Uncia would have to attack. And Uncia didn't have the formation, went for that late swap, felt like, okay, if we're gonna actually push point B, we're gonna need the Tracer ult available early to get any significant meterage on the next point, but they didn't have the Pharah to abuse sightlines, and in the end, very achievable goal coming through for Kongdu Panthera to wrap up what started off as a great day for Kongdu Uncia.
Yeah, most certainly did. The control feels like a long time ago, and it's getting worse and worse for this Kongdu Uncia lineup. Now, match point for Kongdu Panthera as they get their attack run, and if they can get to point B, then everything is over for Kongdu Uncia, and Kongdu Panthera move up that one extra point above their sister team in their group. Still, could be an opportunity for seeing both Kongdu teams in the quarterfinal, but only 2 teams will advance, and there's 4 in this group, so it could be difficult to have the double Kongdus.
No Soldier on defense from Uncia to open up. Defensive dive coming out from them, definitely a staple of early Season 3.
I think we're definitely going to see this comp from Kongdu Panthera as well on the attack. The old Hanzo Widowmaker.
Great synergy there.
Oh, yes. Yes, my solo queue teams tell me that all the time.
We see some triple DPS from Panthera, but with Luffy no longer there to be flexing onto the Reaper, it seems like Bedosen's being a bit more conventional than usual.
Yeah.
He's played some Soldier in the past in Challenger and in other matches, but been pretty staunchly just on the Zenyatta.
Yeah, Honor as well does look very, very good for Bedosen, and I like their short-range composition, utilizing him for some added snipe potential.
Well, no sniping from this hero. It's going to be Rascal opening up once again on the Doomfist. You can contest this high ground very easily.
Yeah, rocket punches his way forward as he's now looking to try and get those shots in. Can't quite get the kills as Void is going to be the one that finishes that one off. Rascal unable to offer too much more as Kongdu Uncia utilizing this to try and get a man advantage more close to this point. Decent escape attempt, but Uncia still on the assault.
Rascal will go down, got the big health back, so didn't die on his first dive. Got everyone off the high ground though, Atlas, so that still is a mini victory,
yes,
even if they weren't picking up kills to back it up. If you're trading 2 for 1 or even evenly, the longer run back means you no longer can contest. More advanced on point A here, and they will get it through the archway. Start to get towards the end of point A.
Yeah, and that high ground that Kongdu Panthera were able to play with for so long on their defense, no longer an option here for Uncia, as this is moving very quickly towards that first point. Some picks though now for Kongdu Uncia. Free very, very low on his mech though. Might lose that as Ding's going to fall down. The Genji not necessarily doing what he wants. Kongdu Panthera playing this one out very, very nicely. There's the uppercut. Rascal getting so much damage in.
They're being so precise, Atlas. They had no supports alive during all of these rotations. And they're back on the point. Rascal stays alive, not going in too deep. Still has the ult available as well.
Yeah, it feels like a one-man army on this Doomfist, trying to get the punches. Misses the monkey, which is a little bit interesting due to the fact that he's the largest possible option that he had to punch, but it doesn't seem to matter. That's going to be the point A. Capped out, and now they've got almost 5 minutes to make it just to point C and say goodnight to Uncia in the first showing of Season 4.
I mean, other teams would just back away the moment they lost 2 supports and try to reform, but with just D.Va, Winston, Doomfist, and Tracer, they continue to push. Rascal dove in and out, opening up space. They got the picks on the outside. They didn't even have to use the Meteor Strike to full push. Okay, slinking around the backline, wants to get a pick onto one of the supports.
Well, that's exactly what Void is going to be able to do, as Dance is going to fall down in the front line, so already making things a little bit difficult. It's still a man advantage available for Panthera, but they're investing a lot into this one. Transcendence goes down immediately afterwards, though, but Osen going to be taken out. Decay doing some decent work to try and hold on for Uncia, but they're still not able to get the good trades in these fights. Still some space to work with, and they can get to that defensible position with the high ground options that they'll be playing with fire, because there's only so far that Panthera needs to push this card.
And we still have not seen the Meteor Strike used, so when we do see that last-second defense to stop this cart from full pushing, I have to expect that will be used to try to open up more space, and no support ultimates. Sound barrier for us in a second, but it needs to answer the Meteor Strike.
Yeah, really great pickoff though there from Decay to make sure Transcendence is going to take as long as possible to come back up. It's going to be answered in kind though by Birdring. Nicely done, and now both teams even. The cart's still moving as Fish is going to be taken down by Chunkstick. It's just a bit of a primal battle here as both of the monkeys just zapping one another.
Yeah, Rascal dived in, wanted to use his ult to confirm the Meteor Strike, but because the rest of the team wasn't in position, he just died actually without using it at all. Gonna get a short pause here, hopefully no significant issues.
Yeah, hopefully not. So it looks like Void struggling with something, as the camera may suggest.
He's sitting there feeling like, I feel like I didn't play Control.
Yeah, I couldn't hear Reaper. It was a little bit
just too quiet.
Yeah, too quiet now. Oh wait, he's not in the game? All right, we can unpause. It's A-okay. But no, hopefully this audio issue is going to be fixed up. You can see our technicians in the booth making sure that Void is going to be fine. And he should be there as well. But it does feel like ever since that, all the cobwebs of the 13 days since the last game that Kongdu Panthera had played have been removed. It is just another day at the office, and this team has been running through Uncia in the last few maps.
I guess a small frustration for them will be the scientific formula. Is it Control, or is it just the fact that Daily was playing? Daily's certainly the bigger variable that was experimented with, and they had been so strong on Control against Lunatic High. But there is a little bit of a thought there. Control is more of a toss-up than other match types. They've looked a lot better on the more conventional map types, the payload-esque map types. And two-point capture was over in a blink of an eye. Almost didn't happen how quick was their win on Lunar Colony. So Panthera, seems like the audio issues are completed, and they're almost about to complete a 3-1 victory as well, with so much time in the bank set up to win on Dorado.
Yeah, we only have about 3 minutes to play with for Kongdu Panthera, and that should be enough as this pause is going to time out. Ding. Flying around, trying to get some picks onto Panthera to stop this assault. And that's another question mark. I mean, you talk about the Daily substitution. What was the Ding substitution about? Because I don't know whether it's necessarily the best option, but never mind that. We got the Meteor Strike coming in as Rascal. Where are you going? Okay, this is the flanking maneuver. He's going to be able to get the punch onto Dance. Not going to be able to find too much more here. It's a couple of picks back as both supports removed from Kongdu Panthera, though, on the Rocket Barrage. Able to get a lot of work done. Ding gives up his life for it, but Rascal was at least taken away. Kongdu Panthera still with a 5-man force in the defense. More options here for Uncia for reinforcement. They should be able to get themselves back here relatively easily, but Free does not want to die before this one comes out.
Birdring won the Tracer battle, but like you say, here are the reinforcements. There's the Sticky, only onto the barrier though.
Yeah, it doesn't find the kill with that as Uncia is going to come in with the Transcendence, just trying to get themselves enough work. But Ding is going to fall down once again, another time begging that question as to why Damon is not still on this roster. More picks, Fish are going to be taken down, some good frontline removed, but look at how close this card is. It's about to park on this point and get Kongdu Panthera their first victory for Season 4. Self-destruct comes down, buys the space, and now it's just Uncia trying to get onto the point if they can. The dash is not going to be enough, and there's the park. There's the victory for Kongdu Panthera.
And the end result of 3-1 certainly does flatter them a little bit based on how they played on Control, but otherwise it was the Kongdu Panthera that we saw very clearly play in the grand final, back in form. The Dosen in for Luffy. The Zenyatta play and his synergy with Rascal when he was on Soldier was very clear. I really liked the duo when it was the Soldier Zenyatta. Felt like the one-man army from Rascal was the Doomfist, which is definitely going to be the bigger takeaway from fans. We saw the start of what could be a Doomfist meta. Is that going to be a Kongdu Panthera special? Will it be everyone? That's a story will be answered over the course of Apex Season 4, but probably going to be some smiles on the sides of both Kongdu teams. The fans said it best. Team Kongdu fighting. They did, but in the end, the clear victor, Kongdu Panthera.
Only half the Kongdus on the stage are able to feel super good after this one, but it is the team